So here we are. This is Design 350. It's Thursday the 7th. It's 11 o'clock. We're on a Google Meet, and we're going to go over. We've sort of covered everything for this session, so I wanted to address a couple of questions that I've had specifically about doing some 3D with AutoCAD and how we can work with those. So here I've got one, and I'm going to go try to find the work that I did on Tuesday. I think that's it right there. And I'm going to open that up, and I'm going to check it out and see if I'm really in a 3D mode here or not. I see that I have some elevations listed here that I can play around with. Let's see. If I look at it from a front view, nope, everything is perfectly flat. So I want to make this 3D. So I've gone into my 3D workspace just because it's a little easier. I don't have to. And I know that I drew this line first. And if I look at my properties, it started at 0 and ended at the other end at 6. So now this point is at an elevation of 6. So my next line goes from an elevation of 6. Start Z is going to be 6. And my end Z is down here at 5. So this is one way that you can make your 3D out of it. And this one starts at 5. And I think I drew them around in this order. I'll have to go look at it for sure. Starts at 5 and ends at 4. This one starts at 4 and goes to 1.31. There's a dip right there. It goes from 1.31 up to 4. And then this last one should go 4 to 0. Oh, here we go. Now when I look at it, oh yeah, there we go. It is now 3D. I could have done the same thing by setting these elevations and drawing line to line to line. But I've got it. That's kind of a cool way that I can do things. Okay, another thing that I can do is I'm going to go ahead and save this now. I do have a 3D surface there. I might even go back in and put in where the pad is. I can do a polyline or a 3D polyline. But I'll just do a polyline. And you know what I'll do? I'll make a rectangle. And I'll just pretend that I've got, I don't know where it actually was, but let's say I knew where that was. I can do the same thing here, I think, and make its elevation. Yeah, its elevation. What was that one at? I don't think it was included in this one. It was in the other ones. But let me make it at 6.25. And then if I want to, I can press pull that downward, say maybe 1 foot. And let's see if I went the right direction. I think I did. Yep. There's my 6.25 and down 1 foot. And I might have even needed to go a little bit farther. So I'm going to save that. I'm going to put it into my top view. Now I'm going to close it up. Let's see how I can interface that with Revit. I'm going to open a new Revit, start a new Revit. I'll make it Imperial Architectural. And I can insert that drawing. I'll go to my site plan. What were we at? Were we at 1 = 20? I think so. I'll leave that in there for now. But now I can do some really cool stuff. I can link it, or I can even put it right in there. So I'm going to import the CAD model. I know it's in feet. I'm going to place it on level 1. I'll make it 0, 0, and there we go. There it is. It's in there. That's it. So now I think I can go ahead and make a topo surface out of that. I'll create it from an import, and I'll use that one. And what layers did I want to use? I think just C prop, although I don't know. I hope it's C prop. I don't know what layer I was on with that other one. There we go. Oh, is that too cool? Let's see what it looks like in 3D now. Oh my gosh. I think that's awesome. Now there's a little bit of cleaning up to do here because this didn't go straight. It's got a little bit of weird stuff on it that you could, if you needed to, clean up. Right, by placing some points along here and getting some other points in there and moving them around. But we'll call that good for right now. Really, what I like to do sometimes is just trim that off. Watch this trick. I'm going to split this surface. I'm just going to take a tiny bit off of it. Okay, where's my snaps? I hate it when those snaps bug me. Let's see if that works. And then I can get rid of that one. Yeah, I got 2 surfaces. I've got that one. And I've got that one. And that's just kind of a quick way if it's not super critical for you. And then I can go back in and place some points. Okay. Now I got a pretty cool surface. I can right click and hide that element in the view. And I've got a pretty nice one here, right? Let me do the same thing here. Now watch this. This is going to be kind of cool. Oh, let me bring that back. I think I'm supposed to have a building pad there. And it's going to be 6.25 from level 1. It's going to be a rectangle from there. Now when I hide that, and a building pad. Isn't that awesome or what? It's also showing me that I probably need a little buildup around here. So this is where your geotech person would come in. Or you would put a stem wall down to some foundation. You would put a stem wall around this and do some fill inside. That's sort of up to you of what you're going to end up doing. Oh, is this getting cool or what? And so sometimes instead of going right into Revit, you'll get something in AutoCAD and you'll put it into Revit to get certain things out of it. And then you can go back and forth too. Okay, what things can I do in Revit here that are easier than in AutoCAD? Well, one of them might be, let me duplicate this, might be a drainage plan. And this is all leading towards up what you're going to do in your projects. So if this one's a drainage plan, what do I need to do? I need to put spot slopes in here. So that's showing it's all going to go over this way and down. So that one's got a pretty good drainage, except for right here. So I might need, when I see this as a landscaper, to say, I might need an infiltration trench or a swale or even just a retaining wall along this back bit. Or I might even want to bring this up so that I don't drain onto my neighbor's property. Okay, it could be that my neighbor is fine with me draining this way, a small amount. There's not going to be a lot going this way because most of this is going this way. So you could even put a small trench like right along here and over, depending on where it's going to go, or even just a drain. This might be a great place for a small vegetated swale so that everything in this area drains to here and you just have a invert to the swale here and an evert coming over to here. So this is where this would be useful, and I have to check and see. This should all say existing. It says new construction. This is existing. My site is existing. So this is the other thing that you need to know about, is you need to know how things look. Oh, why does that one say new construction again? Oh, I know why. See my new construction. This should also say that it's my existing. So that's the thing I want you to start thinking about, is that in Revit, you don't just draw what and where, you draw when. Okay, so now let me put this into my hidden, and I'm showing this is all my existing. And so I can even change this to be named existing drainage plan. And that way later on, when it comes to do a new construction where you put this in here, and this might be new construction, you can check that out and see. Okay, but in our particular project, this is all going to be existing. So I'm gonna treat this as existing right now. And I can change this as existing site. So that's how you start working with Revit. What else might be on here besides this? You might have a vegetation plan, right? Maybe you're going to bulldoze everything but a tree or but something that needs to stay there. Okay, so you can have all sorts of stuff on here. Things that you might have on here would be an existing utility plan. An existing landscape plan. You would for sure have under existing site. You would make one that is. And you would definitely have one called boundary or property lines. And those probably won't change, but I'm going to put existing because with SB 9, Senate Bill 9, which Governor Newsom signed a couple of weeks ago, starting in January, somebody could potentially split this lot. They'd still have to go through the planning department, but the split, the ability to split, cannot be subject to a zoning requirement. Okay, it could be to some other thing that we don't know about, but for zoning, can't be done. So it could be that somebody's going to do something like split the lot from here to here and have a lot A and a lot B, something like that. And there are some requirements about minimum lot size that are in SB 9. So these would all be taken into account and looked at. But you could see that there are potentially good things to do when you split the lot. And then there are some drawbacks to it if you split the lot. The potential good thing is that each lot can take one building, a duplex, or a building plus an accessory unit, and the accessory unit can be a residence. So you can go from one rentable unit to 4 on a piece of property. And you might even be selling off this other piece of property to pay for doing something over here. So there's a lot of good things that we can do with this. So we want, again, to get our property lines in, which I showed you how to do the other day. Oh, there's one other thing I need to show you. Well, it's hidden now, so it won't matter. But it's important. I'm going to make this thing show back up. I'm going to unhide that for a moment. It's really important to do something called pin that. Okay, and it might be pinned. It's pinned. That's really important because that way you can't accidentally move it. So I wanted to make sure I showed you. There we go. Okay, so, and then we remember that we can put in property lines, and those are in massing and site. Property line, create by sketching, zoom in. No, it's off by a little bit, but I'm going to do it right to the survey rather than welcome in. Good to have you. I'm just going over cool stuff. Right, so there I've got those. And we did these the other day. We'll take all of the topographies and we'll make them halftone. And then they're showing up pretty light. And I can override the graphics by category and make all of my property lines a little bit darker and a little bit heavier. Then it'll be up to you whether you want to show these or not. But once they're in there, you know, you can always put in the elevation with a tag or something like that if you want. So there we go. So those are some of the things. And what we did is we took an AutoCAD drawing, which, where was that? And made it into a 3D drawing using the properties box to give elevations in Z to different parts of it. And then we saved it, and then we exported that into a Revit, and we used the topo surface from our import. Then we placed a building pad, and we made all of that existing. Remember that in Revit, we work with, why are these? These should all say existing. I thought when I duplicated it, it would duplicate from existing. I must have duplicated one that was not existing. So those all became existing. And I made my topography existing. And these are just the typical types of drawings that you're going to see, or types of views that you're going to see in a in a in a land planning submittal. As an example, I would see this, and as I do my submittal and say I'm going to be working on this, I would put something like a swale or an infiltration trench along here, so that this small amount is sure to go this way. And there's not much. It wouldn't take a big swale here. Probably, 3 or 4 feet in diameter and 6 inches deep would be enough. You wouldn't even almost call it a swale. You would, put a gravel patch in there and just make it lower. So there we go. Although, if you're doing drainage off this roof over here, you would want to know about that a little bit more. Let's take a look and see. So the drainage off the roof would need to come over to here as an example. You would not want roof drainage over here. So this roof drain would come to this corner. This roof drain would come to this corner. And these two would probably come to this corner. So you really do start thinking about a lot of this stuff, right? Amazing what you think of as you go through this. Okay. That's sort of what I wanted to go over, is how we're going to be using this later on. We're doing some in AutoCAD. And then of course we're going to be doing in AutoCAD, in Survey, we're going to be gathering some sections. And those are important at times, right? Like if I already have a swale here, but I can get sections off of this very, very quickly. If I wanted to see what my section through here looked like, I could do something like that. And I think I'm going to flip my view. And so that's a very quick way to make me a section view. Let's see how that's going to look. And this is where I was saying, oh yeah, I either need fill under here. So I'm going to have to show in my grading drawing that I need to fill under here, or I need to thicken this up, or I need a stem wall around this. And this needs to be a joist or something like that. Okay, but pretty much I'm going to put a building pad on here, and I can make that building pad thicker, right? If I want to, I can make that building pad 3 foot thick, because it's not concrete. Remember, this is just my conditioned area. It says, okay, I'm going to bring in dirt all into here. I'm going to condition all this dirt. That's why we use some section views sometimes. Okay. Let me see what else I'm seeing right there. Where did I do that? Did I do it right here? Yep. And I can bring this down just as absolutely close to it as I can, so I get as little background showing as possible. And then one of these, that's my import drawing. So I need to hide my import drawing. Now I'm really seeing it better, right? And then I might put I've got two ways to do this. I can put a fill on it, or I can go in and I can take that thing and I can say down below what it's going to look like and all sorts of stuff. Okay, and then I see that these need to move out. Let's see if I can grab. There we go. And turn off my, there we go. See, now I'm getting it. And so pretty quickly and easily we can get some nice stuff going on. Yeah, isn't this something? Now I'll do a little bit more cool mind-blowing stuff. Over here, maybe what I'll do is I'll put in some site components. So I'm just doing some preparation for you. These all look pretty big. I want a shrubbery. So I can come down here and look in my planting and do somewhere in shrubs. And so maybe all along here, is that a good shrub to put in around here? Hydrangea, is that a good shrub? Will that grow around here, Eric? Okay, so cool. So I'm going to put some hydrangeas in here, show that maybe they've got some cool landscaping. And so then when I come and look at my section, I can see them. I can see some of them. Now if I want to make it my view look deeper, I'll see more. So there's lots of ways to be looking at this. That's kind of cool, isn't it? Isn't that nice what you can do? So there's some things that we'll be looking forward to as we move along. Not next week, but probably the following week. We'll start working on the project work. I know it said week 10. We'll probably start working the project in week 9. I'll be able to give you the Revit file. And then we'll start doing all of these different plans and start looking at the important land planning documents that are not just drawings, that are in addition to drawings that might need to go on here. Okay. Any questions? So that was just some kind of fun. Do you have any questions on what's due in the submittal? Either these 3 surveys or these 2 surveys. 5 surveys total.
Are we supposed to put them all on the same sheet, all of the sites on the same sheet, or should we make a duplicate slide?
Whichever way ends up looking good. So,
okay.
So I can imagine that you could maybe make, if you wanted to, make this a little bit smaller and stack them, and make this a little bit wider and stack them. Or you could do this and make them separate. So I don't care so long as you make a nice looking submittal. Cool, huh?
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Put everything right back on you. Okay, any other good questions? Okie dokie. Do you have another one?
I was just going to ask, you recorded this today, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. And it's going right
Awesome.
now. So yeah, so this one's recorded. And remember that next on Friday there is no lab. I'm going to be tied up in a seminar all day, pretty much. So.
Okay, for tomorrow.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay,
And so
sounds good.
I took it kind of light, and then next week will be the midterm, and it'll really just be a review. There'll be like some of this and some of this, and then I've got some just simple quizzes, interactive quizzes that read this theodolite reading, read this, and draw this. You know, pretty much. If you can do this one, you can do the midterm because that's got all of it in there. But I'm going to have a little bit also about setting up, and then there will be a small amount on fair housing, and a small amount on foster youth, and so it'll be pretty straightforward, all according to what you've already done, and it's really a great preparation for the following week. Okay, cool.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right, then I'm going to go ahead and
Thank you.
stop the